Hey everybody, so today's lesson is on argumentative articles. Now, argumentative articles are they're sometimes called editorials, they're sometimes called opinion pieces. They're actually usually very easy to identify because newspapers and news sources want you to know that this is an opinion, that this is an argumentative article versus an informational article. If you're a news source and you tend to disguise highly biased, because obviously they're trying to argue something, argumentative articles as informational articles, it hurts your credibility. It makes you look bad. It makes you look one-sided. So these sources are definitely going to want to tell you right up at the top that this is an opinion piece. So as my example one, I got this one from USA Today. It says right up at the top, you can see here that it says opinion. So it tells us this is an opinion. Let's take a look at it. I'm going to walk you through it. We're looking to cover 3 skills. We want to identify what the primary argument is. We want to identify what the sub-arguments are. And then we want to look for logos, pathos, and ethos pieces of evidence. So logos is logical data, statistics. Pathos is emotional evidence, things that are trying to get you to feel something. And ethos is any evidence that's trying to convince you that the speaker has authority, right? The trust me, I'm a doctor argument that we've talked about. So let's take a look at this. So the title is Doctors, Bleach and Misinformation Are Not Coronavirus Cures. They Can Be Fatal. So right off the bat here, we're being told this is coming from doctors. So that's a big ethos argument right there. So the coronavirus, is a real threat, but so is misinformation, like President Trump's suggestion that injecting household cleaners could be a cure. We see right here who the contributors are, who the authors are, and they're both doctors. So that's a big ethos thing right there. It's literally, trust me, I'm a doctor, right? So we have a picture. We get started with a doctor behind the World Health Organization background. So that'll be, that's a big ethos thing right there. Trust me, I'm a doctor. This is literally the closest thing you could get to the ethos primary argument, the joke one, right? So this starts. In our work as gastroenterologists, there are a few types of medical cases we never forget. One is caustic injury to the esophagus caused by ingestion of household cleaning bleach or cleaning detergent. As our job evolves looking inside the human body, involves looking inside the body with a camera, here's the view from the inside. The detergent causes liquefactive necrosis, which, that is a very technical term, right? It's a liquefactive necrosis. It sounds gross. I think you can click on it. It's a link. It would describe to you what that is. But this is a logos argument. Man, I don't think I want to look at the picture of that. Which literally burns through the layers of the esophagus. In the worst cases, the damage can perforate the lining of the esophagus, leading to sepsis and death. There are roughly 200,000 such ingestions in the United States in 2012, according to the U.S. National Poison Data System. Go to logos argument, we're getting some data there. They are medical emergencies and responsible for considerable morbidity. Scroll a little fast. These substances are unequivocally toxic. We are gassed to hear the president touting injections of them as possible treatment or cure for COVID-19 last week. Many traditionally look to the White House briefings to be the purveyors of truth, held to the highest standards. The day after Trump's briefing, calls to the New York Poison Control Center about toxic exposure to household chemicals more than doubled over the same window last year. So people actually listened to it, right? The president said household cleaners could kill the virus, and people actually took him up on it. Calls surged in Maryland and Michigan as well. So some more factual information, some more logos information there. We ask ourselves, okay, what's the main argument? Do we know what the main argument is yet? They haven't really told us. We can guess what the main argument is. Listen to doctors, right? Don't listen to politicians. But they haven't stated that outright yet. So, proselytizing unproven remedies. That means preaching, proselytizing means preaching or trying to convince people of unproven remedies. As physicians working the front lines of the COVID-19, we are deeply concerned about another plague that is epidemic in this country: misinformation. Since the very first cases were identified early this year, our public health response to the virus has been undeniably restricted by contempt toward truth. Initially in February, the magnitude of the virus's threat was downplayed during critical weeks when an unmitigated community transmission was occurring. So things have been downplayed. Time and again, the president proselytized, is that word again, the unproven benefits of hydroxychloroquine, claims that were later walked back by the Food and Drug Administration after a Journal of American Medical Association study reported adverse outcomes of higher death rates associated with certain doses of the drug. This is on top of the tragic accidental death of an Arizona man who ingested a formulation of chloroquine in an aquarium cleaner to keep himself from getting sick. So a lot of information here. A lot of logos. Let's take a look at this picture. So we have a picture of people waving American flags. They are standing in front of, it doesn't say, so counter-protesting a protest against the Illinois stay-at-home order in April 25th, 2020 in Springfield. So these are people protesting the protest to open up the state again, if that makes sense. So another element of the administration misinformation has been to embed a political and xenophobic agenda. Xenophobic means against outsiders, so anti-immigration is xenophobic. To the public health response. Not only as physicians, but also as first-generation Americans from immigrant families, we both took particular offense at the president labeling the virus as explicitly Chinese, and also around his blanket immigration bans, which don't pass muster in terms of public health rationale. So, take it from a doctor. Fake news about the coronavirus is hazardous to your health. Don't fall for it. Boom. There's our primary argument. Trust these guys. They're doctors. Don't listen to misinformation. Why wait until so far down into the article to give us our main argument? Chances are they wanted you to kind of come with them a little bit. They were trying to convince you, using a lot of logos arguments, why misinformation could be bad. So here's their main argument. Don't listen to misinformation. Listen to doctors. As physicians and public health practitioners, part of the concern stems from the fact that misinformation and misdirection are not an isolated Trump phenomenon, rather perhaps as pervasive and prevalent as the virus itself. So pervasive and prevalent means it's everywhere. Over the past 2 months, we have witnessed a Florida county commissioner suggesting that the virus could be cured from hot air from a blow dryer, and that Las Vegas mayor suggests that her city be used as a control group to see whether social distancing really works, which means getting rid of social distancing and see what really happens to a city, which would be a very bad idea. A lot of people would die. And then there was Dr. Phil, who is not a medical doctor, calling for the reopening of the economy. After comparing coronavirus deaths to non-communicable causes of death, such as drowning or car accidents, confused again, this type of thinking is both the cause and the effect of the government sidelining the Centers of Disease Control and World Health Organization in the most critical time of need. So we have a sub-argument here. Don't sideline. Sideline means to set them aside, to not listen to them. Don't ignore the Center of Disease Control and World Health Organization, two organizations that are meant to help the world and the country during these kinds of pandemics. We depend on the truth for our survival. So we're going to roll into another sub-argument here, a reason why you should listen to doctors. We have long been warned of false prophets and snake oil salesmen. For hundreds of years, the practice of medicine has evolved with rigorous scientific method, an iterative, that means repeating, process of observation, testing, and refinement, and a method that best approximates truth. We have practiced this method religiously in our training over the decades so that we can offer our patients the most accurate information. Big reason. Why should we listen to doctors? We use the scientific method. That's one of our sub-arguments there. So we worry, not ready for prime time. Trump's coronavirus briefings are too dangerous for the news media to show them live. I think that might be kind of more of an advertisement. It's not really clear how that fits into the article, so we'll keep reading. We worry not only that there is a devolution and dilution of the scientific method that poses a cultural dilemma. There's some real weird writing quirks here, but it's okay. but also a dilution that cuts to the core of the American experiment. Truth is a pillar of our democracy, part of its very fabric. Donald Trump's false claims about fake news media and his recent harmful medical advice erode the foundation of truth and create the environment that political philosopher Hannah Arnett warned of, in which everything was possible and nothing was true. So we have a quote from a philosopher. Is that ethos? Is that logos? Is that pathos? I would say it's probably ethos, that we have doctors that are not just doctors, trust their medical experience, but also they're quoting philosophers. It's showing they're intelligent, it's showing they're well educated. As we are risking our lives on the front lines of the COVID response, we feel our government is faltering in medicine. Our Hippocratic oath serves our foundational truth and guide. Its central tenet is to do no harm. As physicians, we feel a moral and professional obligation to speak out against misinformation, which not only serves to confuse, but also to threaten the lives of our patients. As citizens, don't we all have an obligation to do the same? So there you go. They're giving you a reason to another sub-argument here at the end, that it is our duty to speak out. So we have some information about the two speakers, right, or about the two writers. Dr. Akash Goel is Assistant Professor of Medicine at Weill Cornell New York Presbyterian Hospital and was awarded the Cannes Lion for his work in human rights advocacy. Dr. Anthony Choi is a fellow gastroenterologist at Weill Cornell New York Presbyterian Hospital. So those are telling you they're doctors. Where are they doctors? So this is a good ethos argument. Our authors are doctors. Trust doctors. So let's do a little bit of a review here. Our main idea argument is trust doctors, not in misinformation. That's what they want you to do. Our sub-arguments are misinformation causes unnecessary death and harm. Sidelining major organizations can do more damage than good. And physicians are sworn to do no harm, to not hurt anybody. What kinds of evidence did we have here? A lot of ethos evidence, right? A lot of trust doctors and different examples of trusting doctors. A lot of logos information here, where it was, they were telling you about statistics. They were telling you about how many more people have consumed bleach and Lysol early on in the article. There's even a little bit of pathos here. We're, children of immigrants. We're here to help as well. That was pathos. Describing what drinking bleach does is a bit of pathos as well. We're supposed to be grossed out by that. We're supposed to be kind of horrified by that. That's emotional as well. And so we're, at the end of this, supposed to trust doctors more because they've convinced us that they're looking out for us, they've taken an oath to look out for us, and that misinformation can hurt others. All right, I miss you guys. I hope everybody's well. I'm also going to put the link and the title of this in the slides, so hopefully we can find it, and that can take care of that problem. Hopefully see you guys soon. Fridays I'm doing office hours at noon, so I'll send everybody a link to that so that you can come and join me if you have any questions. Okay, bye guys.